In this video, I'm going to look at how we can solve the pirate treasure problem by using the collection of tools that comes with the web sketch. As part of the problem, we're told that the treasure is 5 miles farther away from the boulder than it is from the lighthouse. So that gives us a clue that we should be thinking about using a hyperbola to solve this problem. In particular, I want to create a hyperbola that has the boulder and the lighthouse as the two focal points of the hyperbola. So I'll tap on the hyperbola tool, and I see a preview of the hyperbola that I'm about to construct. Notice that one of the points is glowing. This is a focal point of the hyperbola, and since I want the boulder to be one of those two focal points, I will tap to merge that focal point to the boulder. Now the other focal point of my hyperbola is glowing, and I want that to be matched to the lighthouse. So let's merge those together by clicking on the lighthouse. Finally, we have a point on the hyperbola that's glowing, and this point can be anywhere we like. We don't know yet where we'd like to place it, so let's just place it down anywhere. All right, so now we have our hyperbola with the boulder and the lighthouse as the focal points. Let's get a little more exact about where to place this. I'll start by putting a point anywhere I like here on the hyperbola. I can drag that along the hyperbola, along both branches in fact. And let's use the segment tool to create a segment from the boulder to this point and from this point to the lighthouse. So when I tapped on the segment tool, I see a preview of the segment I'm about to construct. And as before, we see that a point is glowing. That's the point we need to place. So let's merge that to the boulder by clicking on the boulder, and let's attach the other endpoint of the segment to the point on the hyperbola. All right, so here we have our first segment, and I'll create the second segment again, this time going from the point on the hyperbola to the lighthouse. So if I were to measure the distance from this point, let's give this point a name. I'll tap on it here. Point A, fine. So if I were to measure the distance from A to the boulder and A to the lighthouse and take the absolute value of that difference, it would be a constant. And in this case, we want that constant to be 5 centimeters. So let's use the distance tool, and this gives me 2 points that shows me the distance between them, and I'm going to merge point B to the boulder, point C to point A. So this gives me the distance from the boulder to A, and that is updated dynamically as I drag point A. And let's use that distance tool again to go from A to the lighthouse. So here we have the 2 measurements in the top left corner that are updated as I drag point A. And I want to look at the difference of them. So I'm going to use the calculator, which is this tool here. And I tap inside of this box. And my calculation is going to be, let's see, the absolute value of the difference of these 2 distances. So I'll tap directly on this distance from the boulder to A and subtract the distance from A to the lighthouse. Okay, so I see that for all locations of A, this absolute value of the difference is constant, which we expect because we're on a hyperbola. And we want that distance, the difference in the 2 distances, to be 5 centimeters. So let's drag this point that controls the hyperbola, and I will let go right there when it's 5 centimeters. So here we have now a point which is 5 centimeters farther away from the boulder than it is from the lighthouse for all these locations along this branch. And we can continue to construct a second hyperbola that matches the conditions we're told relating the jail and the cave.